Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Roundabout Sports Podcast. I am supporter of your first place Chicago Bears, Brian McDaniel.
And I'm wondering if our quarterback is stronger than a gingerbread man. Vikings fan, Karla Bigham. And we are wrong about sports. Oh
Woo!
my goodness.
Woo!
Number 2 playoff seed, your Chicago Bears, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1 NFC North. What a game. What a game, Brian.
Well, and before we get into all of that, I spent a lovely weekend up north watching football, drinking lots of frosty beverages that I purchased from an MLBA, Minnesota Licensed Beverage Association retailer. Since 1952, the Minnesota Licensed Beverage Association has been helping licensed beverage retailers in the state of Minnesota with information resources, educational programs, and government affairs services designed to promote and protect their businesses. All their member retailers understand that with the MLBA, they are not alone.
They are not. And as you're enjoying those hot toddies this holiday season, make sure it's an MLBA store.
Absolutely. They usually have a sticker on the door. But you know who is alone? The Chicago Bears, alone in first place.
There you go. There you go. What an amazing, amazing game.
It was a game. It didn't even really seem real. So Bears and Packers played Saturday night in Chicago. It was cold. The Bears had a great defensive stand on the Packers' first drive. Then the Bears tore through the Packers like a hot knife through butter on their first drive, and then made a very ill-advised decision to go for it on fourth down. Put in a Matt Nagy BS gimmick play. Here's the thing. I love Ben Johnson. I love the Chicago Bears, but there's nothing that the Bears love more than having their tight ends play quarterback for some reason. I don't get it. I don't like it. They need to stop it. So the Packers stopped the Bears stopped the Packers, and then the Packers went on a pretty good run of kind of dominating the game. There was an arguably dirty hit from Austin Booker to Jordan Love. It's one of those things where, I mean, it was a helmet to helmet. It was not great, but Love ducked his head a little bit, so I don't think he was trying to kill him. But anyway, it was enough to knock Love out. Malik Willis.
Little concussion he left for.
Concussion. So Malik Willis came in for the Packers and did quite well.
Yeah, not a joke.
Nope. Bears have always traditionally done poorly with running quarterbacks, and he wasn't throwing the ball a ton, but when he was completing it. But also, so there were lots of injuries on the Packers side, but the Bears, they were down Rome Odunze, they were down Luther Burden. The Packers had an extraordinarily dirty hit on DJ Moore. We'll get back to him in a minute. But the Packers got up 16-3, and we're getting into the fourth quarter. And it's like, it's not looking great. But then Cardiac Caleb, the Iceman, starts bringing the Bears back. Caleb threw for 250 and 2 touchdowns. The running game was working. The Bears are dropping some passes, but then, like I said, they were out Burden and Odunze. And but they had the game tying reception went as the second reception ever for a rookie on their team. Jahan, I'm going to forget his name. Walker, yep. John Walker, which was pretty awesome. And then they get to overtime. They stop the Packers. And then it's Caleb's time to shine. Threw a long bomb to the aforementioned DJ Moore, who brought it in. A little walk-off tutty. And Bears win 22-16. They have a game and a half lead on the Packers with 2 games to play. Bears have a tough schedule, though. They play the Niners in San Francisco next week, but then they got the Lions, who now, because the Lions lost in a game that we should talk about a little bit, how it ended. but the Lions might not have a ton to play for there. But if the Bears win either of those games, or if the Packers lose either of their games, one of which is to the Vikings, the Bears win the division. They're currently the number 2 seed. I think only the number 1 seed gets a bye. But
Yep.
hey, Bears clinched a playoff spot. No matter what happens, I'm very happy with how the year went out. And I think
Absolutely.
either one of those things where either they're going to get the Packers at home or go to Green Bay, and that's pretty great. But it was thrilling. It was very surprising because at some point everything just started working in the Bears' favor when
Absolutely.
for most of my life, not all of my life, but for most of my life, it has been the exact opposite, where the Bears have been the one who have snatched defeat from the
Mhm.
jaws of victory, but not
Yeah.
under Ben Johnson. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good gets better and your better is best. Go Bears! Woo!
Yeah, know your audience. I'm a Vikings fan. So,
Yeah,
but couple things. I hope that I mean, look, I think it's inevitable, although we don't like to say this much on the show, that the Pack are probably going to make the playoffs.
yeah.
I hope they're 7 seed because I hope wild card weekend, baby.
Mhm.
It's going to be the Packers versus the Bears in Chicago. So I do hope that that is what plays out, just for the sport. A couple other things. That Walker touchdown was just amazing. DJ Moore's athleticism does not disappoint, never has. It's why they went and got him. Um, you know, the other thing I will say is that Williams was not sacked and he did not throw an interception. I think what I tell people is Chicago is the most consistent team right now. I think
Yeah.
you got to worry about Seattle hands down. The Rams are starting to struggle a little bit. And here's the thing: we knew that when Micah Parsons went down from the Packers. Now you got Love. That we'll see. We'll see if he starts on Sunday, depending on that was a nasty hit. And so we'll see how he progresses. But I do think that the Packers are just not healthy. I know the Bears aren't, but just that culture that has been built in Bears, and we're going to get to a question I'm going to have for you, that they're able to do that next man up, and they've really prepared the whole roster, not just their starters. So I think that's where the consistency helps. So one other I want to say one other thing about DJ Moore and Caleb Williams, and then I want to ask you a question. Um, so DJ Moore had 5 receptions, okay, 97 yards, 19.4 in a touchdown. 19.4 yards is the average for him for this game. Um, Cannot be underestimated about his ability to drive that offense, and for Williams to know that, and for the defenses to have to account for that. And the number of tools that the Bears have is incredible. And so even if they try to stop DJ Moore in the long pass, which Caleb certainly has the arm for, they're going to have to deal with the 30 yards of rushing almost per game that Williams has. He had 30 this week. And then, you do have the run game that the Bears can depend on. And they also have a stud tight end. And so I just think they're built to go. I'm on board. I'm on the go Bears, bear down. Um, and here's my question. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Ben Johnson, coach of the year. I mean, it's got to be him or Vrabel, right? Probably
Yeah,
one of the two. And
I
I,
mean,
I, I got to give it to Johnson.
yeah, I think right now Johnson's probably the hot name on it. I mean, there've been all of a sudden Jacksonville's on fire down
Uh huh.
there, and you got a lot of first year coaches that are really doing well.
Yep.
But I mean, right now the Bears, and let's be reasonable. I'm not saying that the Bears are the best team in the league, nor am I saying they're maybe even not the best team in the division. But the Bears seem to have captured a
Yep.
little bit of the national consciousness, and I have had lots and lots of both Vikings fans and people I know from around the country that have texted me that they're all in on the Bears, which is
Yep.
kind of funny. But I get it. They're kind of a fun team. They're a scrappy team. They're the underdog. People have really shifted, appropriately so, on Caleb Williams, where they're starting to see that that is not the worst quarterback in the league, unlike um, what Troy Aikman would like you to believe. But I think Ben Johnson, Coach of the Year, is very plausible.
Yeah.
We'll see how they do the last two games. The Packers play Baltimore this week, which would be a tough game, but it might be a battle of the backups because Lamar Jackson got hurt and Love is hurt. So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens there. And then they finish up against the Vikings, who probably will be down to, I don't know, you or me playing quarterback. So
I mean, let's talk about the Vikings. So Vikings, yeah. Giants, Vikings win. Okay, right. Third in a row. Little Bronx cheer there against the Giants. And so anyway, Jackson Dart was 7 for 13, 33 yards. So that shows you how awesome our defense is, which is what I prefer to talk about right now. They haven't allowed a passing touchdown in 6 games, according to the Google, if you look. And he was sacked 5 times. He had an interception. And so it's just that ability to stop the pass, to really get in the mind of those rookie quarterbacks and some of those more inexperienced quarterbacks to be like, yeah, try throwing the ball. Even with Harrison Smith playing the way he's playing. He had a really good hit. And he led with his helmet, hit the helmet. And we're going to talk about a play from the Detroit Lions here, but let's just get through this Vikings thing. McCarthy, 9 for 14, 108 yards, 1 interception. He was rushing for 20 yards and, he got a touchdown that way. He was sacked 3 times, which is unusual over the last few weeks. He actually has not been sacked, but we had Darisaw gone and I don't know. Then he left with a hand injury. I mean, look, dude can't stay healthy. I don't know what else to say. Like he's not giving the Vikings and look, I mean, it's a game. It's a very physical game, full contact, obviously, but you can't leave us in this quarterback conundrum we have. And that's a conversation for a different show. But like McCarthy just not being able to stay healthy is going to cause whoever, if it's Kwesi, whatever, and O'Connell, to go and look at a Joe Burrow, at a Baker Mayfield, right? At, a Jameis Winston, somebody that is going to be able to bring some excitement and leadership and veteran playing, history to be able to really lift up and lead this offense. But good note, Jefferson was 6 for 8, 85 yards. Jones was on fire at 85 yards rushing, and I have to say that the Naylor and Addison were dropping balls, and so I know they're both up next year. But hey, guys, pro tip: if you want a big contract, you have one job: catch the ball. Anywho, let's move on from the Vikings. Okay, Steelers, Lions. What a finish. Yeah. But holy Hannah, Goff would wait for this 34 for 54. Man, that dude was on fire trying to get that ball. -1 rushing yards. The whole Lions offense only rushed for 15 yards, and 14 of that was Montgomery, little familiar name for the Bears. Gibbs had 2 yards rushing. For folks that were in fantasy football, had Gibbs, and you just lost it.
I'm familiar with that feeling. Yeah,
he had 66 receiving yards and a tutty, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, rushing yards is a big deal. Goff was sacked 3 times, and so I think you look at the Lions, trying to fight this out. I mean, they're pretty much eliminated. Everybody's got to like lose out, and they've got to win out, and it's like way too much help. But I don't know. And then let's talk about Rodgers. He was 27 for 41, 266 yards and a tutty. He was sacked twice by Aiden Hutchinson. That had to be fun. That had to be fun for a Michigan boy, right? And
Yep.
then Jalen Warren, if you guys had him in fantasy football, congrats. 143 yards rushing and 2 tutties. But that end of the game, Brian, end of the game. Uh, I mean, I was like, I think it was a proud husband moment when I was screaming at the TV saying, you got to foul on the offense, time lapsed, but it is a touchdown because Goff did have a deflection catch run across into the end zone, right? But there
Yep.
was Amon-Ra St. Brown got a little handsy and had interference. And so, pro tip, you cannot end a game on a defensive foul, on a penalty, right? But you can on an offense. And
Offense. Yep.
so, it was the right call. It took the refs a hot moment to get this right. Um, if they could hear me yelling, I was very proud of myself that I got the call right, for someone that's only officiated for 5 years in high school, not even the pros. And there's a lot of different rules, to be fair. But that one, I was actually very proud of the refs for taking a second, talking through it, like, okay, this is what I'm going to say. And he called that. He made his announcement so perfect for that play. But Rodgers knew. I mean, you could just tell by the sideline. He's like, let's go, guys. Come on. We got it. We won. He knew exactly what was happening. But anyway, you know, it's the Steelers are on their third straight win. I don't know what the AFC will look like, but between Jacksonville and Steelers, they still. I mean, Jacksonville has a path to being number one. The
Yeah.
Steelers are still fighting, and I think they'll be fine. I think they'll end up in the playoffs. But anyway, what did you think of that end of game?
Well, it was extraordinarily entertaining, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I mean, obviously, as much as I hate to root for any Aaron Rodgers led team, I certainly had a vested interest in the Lions losing.
Yeah,
But I'm a Dan Campbell guy. It's kind of
yeah,
hard not to. It's kind of hard not to like Dan Campbell. But the
exactly.
Lions, it seems like whatever magic they had the last 2 seasons has now completely flipped around. So now that they only get the short end of all of these calls. And I mean, it's tough to watch a team's window closing, but their
Mhm.
window is starting to close a little
Oh, for
bit.
sure.
They
Oh,
have
for sure.
they have a ton of talent, but it feels like they're not on the upswing any longer. But
Well, no, and I do think that they've had a roller coaster of a season, right? Like if you go back and watch one of our first episodes talking about the Lions, we both were like, "What? You lost both your coordinators, and you lost like a dozen good players. Like you just lost a lot of longevity and institutional knowledge of that team and the offense and the defense and everything like that." And then like couple weeks into it, they start taking off. They got their stuff together. They like Dan Campbell takes over calling on offense. Like he really just leads his team. And so you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess the coordinators are doing their own thing now. Everybody else, well, that ends well. Like they got a new, scheme going. And now all of a sudden, the last couple weeks, they've really struggled. And I haven't kept up on their if they're injured, their injury players, but I kind of thought I had Aiden Hutchinson as a early comeback player of the year. But I mean, he's not even in the top 15 for sacks, or tackle for loss on, solo or as a group. So I think he probably won't get that, but man, he came back from a nasty injury. But anyway,
well,
Lions are gonna lion.
yeah, Lions are going to lion. But when you talk about injuries, I mean, when you get to this point of the season, who doesn't? I mean, the Bears are decimated, the Packers are decimated, the Vikings can point to many people that they have. So you're lucky if you're healthy, and the Bears are getting a little lucky in that their guys got hurt so early that some of them are starting to come back.
Yeah.
On the defense, which has helped them. Their defense did not play fantastic, but they're just an opportunistic defense. Nashawn Wright, Vikings didn't need him. Nashawn Wright with another turnover, got Josh Jacobs to fumble in the
Yeah.
red zone. So Jacobs got hurt
Yeah.
in the Packer Bear game as well. But The Bears defense, it's definitely bend, don't break, and then get turnovers. If they don't
Yep.
get turnovers, they're not going to win. But it's impressive. Looking at the AFC a little bit, Jaguars are looking fantastic all of a sudden. Buffalo, I still think is the
Oh yeah.
class of the division. Kansas City, they lost to Tennessee this weekend, so obviously they were already eliminated, but they ain't coming back.
Yeah.
The Broncos looked like trash against Jacksonville,
At
but then
home.
at home, their defense looked terrible.
Correct.
So I mean, it's going to be great. I mean, I hope it's not, another Philadelphia, representing the NFC, and but we're going to get some new blood in the AFC, and probably Buffalo is probably realistically the best team there, but I don't know that they're
Yeah,
playing.
he tweaked his foot yesterday, Josh Allen did, but I will say this, and this isn't original, but think about it, how Josh Allen must be thinking to say that you have no Mahomes, right? You have in the playoffs, and you have um uh no Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. And so like these folks that you've had to struggle with your whole career to try to beat them in championship games and come up short. Now is like, if I mean, two of his kind of arch nemesis are not even in the playoffs. He should be able to lead his team. He is that incredible of an athlete, and he does. I mean, he does have a very good team, and he spreads the ball around. I mean, James Cook is my running back. He helped me beat your colleague into the Super Bowl. I don't think she's talking to me yet.
Well, she
Amy
brought she
Frederickson.
brought it up. She brought it up at our Monday morning meeting. So yeah, it's
Well, yeah, I mean, so
fun.
she may be a little icy to me, but it's not as fun to beat her as it is Housley, though. It's way more fun to beat Housley. But I do think that Cook is a very good talent, and they obviously have tight ends, multiple tight ends, Knox and Kincaid that they use. So I think, to your point, I called that it would be Buffalo and the Lions in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to get my NFC team, but I think Buffalo is definitely in play. So, and then there's a team that was going to be in consideration that's playing tonight, Brian.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
hear it.
so we have the 49ers and Colts. It's the 49ers, even though it's at Colts by 5.5. And I did some little research. This is what I call a nugget. The 49ers are 6-2 when they play away, and the Colts are 6-1 when they play at home. And so, oops, like I think that's why you have such a tight, kind of. I mean, we got Old Man Rivers playing, Old Man Rivers, but the Colts have lost 4 in a row now, and Rivers is 2 years younger than me, and I just think it is incredible that he's doing this. To be honest, like I just think what a good thing for the sport. But I do think that both defenses are very good against the run. I would actually give the edge of the run to the Colts, to be honest. I think, and we'll get to our prop plays, but I just think the 49ers are fighting for a spot. They're going to be in the playoffs. Just again, they're kind of in that mix of what rank they're gonna be. The Rams are right there on their tail in the NFC West. But so do you want me to go into my prop
Yeah,
plays, or
go into your prop.
do you have general things about the game you wanted to bring up?
No, the only thing I'll say is I'm gonna be watching the game with a lot of interest. The Bears do go to San Francisco to play next weekend.
Yep.
They got Brock Purdy, my boy from Iowa State.
Mhm.
So I'll be watching them. It's a shame what happened with the Colts. Though the only thing I'll say is Indiana might be getting a second team because the Bears are now kind of in full stadium, BS
Search.
search, and they're saying, well, maybe Gary, Indiana. Ah, I'd rather play in Gary Busey than in Gary, Indiana. But
His
that's
videos are nutty
yeah,
bananas.
But anyway,
Anyway,
so let's
okay,
get into our
so
prop.
tonight, so Christian McCaffrey, stud, actually stayed healthy. Oh, better knock on wood there. Um, Sorry for those that are in the Super Bowl or are in going into the Super Bowl this next week. If you have McCaffrey, I didn't mean to jinx anything, but he uh is a stud. He has had rushing touchdowns in the last like 4 weeks, I think, and he's had multiple in a week of the most recent part of the season. So he scores. So they go to him. I will say that you know the Colts, as I said, are really good on the defense, but what McCaffrey is good at is receiving. And I think there's going to be a lot of checkdowns by your boy Purdy, who's healed now from turf toe.
Yep.
Um, and the Colts, they held Kenneth Walker to just 17 yards and 2 receiving yards. And now there's no comparison really between McCaffrey and Kenneth Walker, but Walker has been a really good running back for Seattle. He's no joke. But I just think I'm going to go with the under on the rush attempts, under 18.5 rush attempts for McCaffrey, because I think they're going to be throwing a little bit to him and doing some checkdowns. So I still think he's going to score. So go ahead and put in that anytime touchdown for McCaffrey. But I do think it's going to be more of receiving for him instead of rushing. Um, then for my Colts, uh, I'm going to go with the rookie tight end, Tyler Warren, over on 3.8 receptions. He's usually targeted about 6 times. Old Man Rivers has had really strong rapport with his tight ends. Think Antonio Gates in San Diego back when I was younger, because like I said, we're about the same age. And then when he was on the Colts last time, it was Jack Doyle. That he had a really good, there's a name, a really good rapport with. And so I'm going to just say this guy's got a really good running back, tight end with Warren. And I'm going to give him an extra week of practice. I'm going to say that the San Francisco defense is extremely good on the rush as well and stopping the run. I'm going to go with Tyler Warren over 3.8 receptions.
That seems certainly plausible. Well, I think that the in addition to the Colts quarterback situation being kind of a mess. Daniel Jones is out. Anthony Richardson's not ready to be back. They're playing a 44-year-old quarterback. But one of the biggest losses that Indy has is Sauce Gardner. They
Oh, yeah.
traded for him from the Jets. He came to Indy, got hurt almost right away. So their defense is scrambling a little bit. So my first prop, my 49er prop, is going to be Juwan Jennings. I'm going to take the over on 20.5 yards for longest reception.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get at least one long one. Sauce won't be there to stop him. So I think that is going to be my over for the Niners. And then on my under, it's almost going to be the opposite for everything that we just said. Old Man Rivers is he still knows how to play quarterback. They won their last game, but they've been throwing it short, which is why I think your prop is 100% correct. So I'm going to take the under on Josh Downs, their wide receiver, 24 and a half yards receiving. He's a downfield wide receiver. Rivers just can't do that anymore. I think that he's going to be the odd man out there. So those are my props.
And let's not forget about Jay Taylor,
Yeah,
right? Okay. I mean, the running back for the Colts, also a very good receiving running back, too. So, I think that Rivers has some opportunity to use these checkdowns and short passes to get around the 49ers. So I wouldn't count them out today, but I do think 49ers will win. And I think our props are spot on. So
yep.
I might say so myself.
Giddy up. Well, I will thank the Chicago Bears for being the pride and joy of Illinois. Chicago Bears, bear down. Brian
Uh,
McDaniel.
And I'm going to continue to wonder which is sturdier, our quarterback or gingerbread man. Karla Bigham, Vikings fan. And we are
wrong about
sports.
Thank you, Gabe.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays,
NBC. No relation to NBC.